I'm taking a break right now from managing my vault. I have quite a ways to go to get everything organized because there are so many weapons in the game right now, so many different pieces of gear that I have to get, all this stuff organized. So it's taking a while. I'm taking a break from it, so I'm gonna check on the marathon Destiny numbers and see how it's going because I knew that Marathon was going free to play for this week, and it was supposed to end June 9th, I think. And because of a few mishaps on the season 2 launch day for Marathon, Bungie extended the free to play for a couple more days. I think it free to play ended yesterday, so I don't know. They had the season 2 launch for Marathon and the June 9th update pretty close together. So it turned into a competition, whether that was intentional or not, I'm not entirely sure. But let me move to my other screen here. Let's see. So we have, right now it's a little bit after 10 p.m. on the East Coast. So playing an hour ago on Marathon, Steam, just the Steam numbers, we got 13,495. Today's peak was 15,844. And then I felt like that all-time peak was in the 80s. I don't know why I'm seeing 77,359. I don't know. But let's see. What about the last 7 days? Friday, June 6th. Whoa. No, wait, Friday, June 5th. 31,991. Saturday, June 6th, 32,396. And let's see, fast forward to Sunday, June 7th. Well, this is like 4 p.m., 32,637. And that was the height. Um, let's see, we have another peak here, 25,679. Now, Monday, June 8th is the day before the Destiny 2 June 9th release, right? So it was over 30,000 at peak a few times. And then June 9th showed up, and even on June 9th, what is this, like 10 p.m. on June 9th? That was a Tuesday. The peak was 19,746. Um, hmm, okay. Wednesday, June 10th, again 10 p.m., 17,986. I don't know if this is going off of my time zone on the East Coast of the US or not. Thursday, June 11th, again 10 p.m., 15,844. What's the last time we have for today? Today, which is Friday, June 12th at 9 p.m., we have 13,495. Okay. Yeah, so we are compared to June 5th, which was a week ago, at 11 p.m., it was 31,991. 991 at the peak on Steam. And then today, 9 p.m., a week later, we got 13,495. That's more than a 50% drop if that stays for another, what, 2 hours or so. Wow. The last 30 days is up almost 40%. The gain is over 3,200 players. In the last 30 days, the average players 11,429, about 430. So I mean, that's something. I don't know. I haven't played Marathon. I really can't um, give an opinion on it. As I probably mentioned before, I'm not into extraction shooters. I haven't played an extraction shooter game ever, so I really can't really give an opinion on it. But okay, so we're looking at the top games right now on Steam, and Destiny 2 is still in the top 10. 120,809 right now, so it's number 8. It's getting edged out by Marvel Rivals. I don't know what these other games are. Oh boy, Rust, PUBG, Battlegrounds. Oh Lord, hold on. I'm getting I don't want to get a virus on here. Let me see if I can get to this page without breaking my computer. All right, planning out 125,725 planned an hour ago. The 24-hour peak 126,547, and then the Steam all-time peak 316,651. Well, okay. Obviously, before the June 9th update. So if you're looking at June 5th, last Friday, we were at 31,640 compared to Marathon was at 31,735. They're almost equal to each other. That is crazy. Okay, so it stayed up in the 30s for a while. Let me look back a month because I'm pretty sure it wasn't this high. Okay, so it was 8,000, 5,000. Like this one is 5,151, but that's at 3 in the morning. It was at 10,000 on May 15th. That's at 2 p.m. It hit 13,000 maybe at one time. But yeah, this is 11,542 on May 21st. 13,000 there on May 25th. It hit 18,170. That's at 7 p.m. on May 25th on a Monday. It's starting to, the end of May, it started to get above 15,000, We got 18,000 here. And now we're getting into the 20s, May 29th on Friday, 9 p.m. So when June was coming up, because we all knew about June 9th, I started seeing a lot of new players running around the tower. Because you see everybody's Guardian rank So I started seeing a lot of rank twos, a lot of rank fours. You look at everybody's, gear sets there in the 300s, the 400s, etc. So it was a lot of, well, not a lot, but I just noticed more new players in the game. May 31st, um, that's at 10 p.m., 26,158. So it was just a gradual, yeah, now we're in the 20s, 26,422 on June 2nd. Um, just more players, like double, um, in that one number that we saw, like 5,000. So this is like five times as much. The low point at 6 o'clock in the morning was 11,671. Yeah, but now it's going to the 30,000 on June 5th, and that was last Friday. Interesting. And the thing about this is obviously PC is not the primary platform for Destiny 2. It is for Marathon, but not for D2. On D2, I think I saw the stat was what, 4-1 for every one player on Steam. You have four players on console playing the game. So you have to take that into consideration in terms of overall how many players are actually playing the game. Um, man. Okay, so let me go back to the 7 day. Yeah, 36,412 Sunday afternoon, about 3 p.m. It's impressive, considering there was nothing to do in the game at that point. Um, Monday, June 8th at 10 p.m., 37,000 371 compared to, if you go back, wow, okay. But you know what? Tuesday, June 9th at 8 a.m., 18,043. And then, of course, the servers went down. They did a whole, because when I logged in that morning, Tuesday morning, I couldn't access the game. The servers were down, so it dropped as low as a little less than 3,000 at 11 a.m. on June 9th. 3,256 players on Steam. At noontime on June 9th, 7,027. And then at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, it jumped to 101,254. And that's just on Steam. So in an hour, oh my gosh, it went from 7,027 at noon to 1 p.m. It jumped to over 100K. That's crazy. At 2 p.m., it was 151,000. 3 p.m., 166,600. 4 p.m., 163,000. 160 at 5. Let's see. And then it got to, what's this, 9 o'clock? 9 p.m. on Tuesday, 167,867. I mean, I was shocked. I was shocked. Um, when I came online and I looked at the numbers because I knew that everybody was saying, "Hey, we need to show up on June 9th." All the streamers were saying it. It was going around on social media. Then there was a petition, and it was just this whole like rallying cry type thing. And I'm like, are people really gonna you know show up for this game? And it's been like no updates for over 6 months, and they surprised me. They I was surprised, happily surprised, but I was just like, wow. Um, that's crazy. But um, so obviously servers dropped, I guess, June 10th at 10 a.m., 17,000. I'm laughing because this is the dip. The floor was 17,469 on June 10th, but then you look at this game and their peak is less than 16,000. It's like, I mean, I find that interesting. Now, I don't know. I've heard some good things about Marathon. Um, as far as the character design, I'm not a fan. The art style is okay, but I'm definitely used to the the Destiny template, I guess. Um, so and besides, like I said, I don't play any extraction shooters at all. So it's not like I'm trying to come down on the Bungie devs or anything. It's just certain games I play. I'm picky as it is with which games I play. Um, so yeah, it's just I don't see myself getting into an extraction shooter. I don't like losing my gear. I just don't. But this is interesting. 10 a.m. on June 10th, Wednesday. 10 a.m. on Wednesday. It was 17,644.69 at this. That amazes me. The jump. 10 a.m. on Wednesday. It was 17,469. At 11 a.m. within that hour, it jumped to 69,729 at 11 a.m. on a Wednesday. 1 p.m. it was 104,000. You just go through the day. It's like this is a Wednesday and it wasn't a holiday. It's like did people just well, I guess the kids are out of school. Everybody's on their summer vacay. I don't know. It's just weird. By 10 p.m. on Wednesday, it was 128,758. So for me, and then at 11 p.m. on Wednesday, it was 132,471. So at this point, I'm wondering how long is this going to hold? Not to say that we don't have anything to do. We have actually, it's just, there's so much stuff dropping in the game right now that's tiered. And now I have to compare it to the other weapons that I have crowding up the vault. I mean, it's overwhelming at this point. We went from absolutely no content. You would go into, like altars of sorrow on the moon. All the pieces of gear or weapons that were dropping were not tiered. You can use them, but really they were worthless, right? And now you got stuff dropping from all over the place that's tiered, and it's like, it's like, oh my gosh, this update is it feels like it's a couple of years late. It does. It feels like it's a couple of years late. Um, but anyway, I'm just curious. So our low Thursday at 6 a.m. was 54,782. And this is just on Steam. So I know good and well the doggone PC players. Because when I was little and we was out for summer vacation, the report card comes in the mail. You know, your parents, they sign off on it and stuff like that. And after that, they let you stay up later, you know, as long as you get for me, it's like as long as we get our chores done, we're just coasting, you know. Um, so yeah, I mean, back then I was probably on my Nintendo 64 or something like that. So, so yeah, it was just get up. I mean, you know, you stay up late playing games, you get up early playing games. Um, you know, you take advantage of your free time. But yeah, this 6 in the morning on Thursday, yesterday, by 10 a.m. up to 82,680. I mean, dang, this is at 2 p.m. 99,632. Let's see, the peak was 10 p.m. yesterday, 126,547. Man, I'm I don't know how long this is gonna last. And then there's the floor, 56,734. 56,734. Yeah, the floor was higher than the day before. 5 o'clock in the morning, 57,303, and that's 5 o'clock this morning on a Friday. Climbing, climbing, climbing. The last number we have is from 9 o'clock, which is like an hour and a half ago. 125,725. Let me reload really quick. And there they are. 10 p.m., 131,567. That's a 10 p.m. number. I mean, I'm about to jump back into the game, but I'm just and we have tonight's 10 p.m. number 14,340. You know, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what they're gonna do. I really don't. Um, I don't understand just the the thinking, because I'm reading the news and the articles and whatnot like everybody else, and they're saying, well, in January, Sony looked at the numbers and they were like, well, Destiny's not bringing in a lot of enough concurrent players, so we're going to end it. And it's like, did anybody ask why Destiny 2 wasn't bringing in the numbers like they wanted it, like numbers like this? Destiny 2 wasn't bringing in the numbers because, well, we had the final shape. That was we knew that that was the end of Destiny 2, but it's like I don't know if what the devs were thinking or what Sony was thinking, but that was the end of Destiny 2. Um, Destiny 3 should have been started years ago in terms of production, being in production. Should have been in production years ago and been almost finished by now, and they didn't do that. And then they moved devs off of Destiny to work on other projects, including Marathon. And that's like they stopped making PvP maps. They stopped putting in new strikes. They just stopped paying a lot of attention to the game. So when the developers stopped paying enough attention to the game, the players stopped paying attention to the game. So the players are waiting on the developers to put more effort, more into the game. Um, Edge of Fate episode or whatever that was, it was not good. Renegades was fine, but they had already burned so many bridges getting up to that point. Um, I just so now I'm hoping, praying that the developers see what the actual problem is. Right, the actual problem is Destiny 2 didn't have content. You know, Destiny 2 didn't have tiered weapons across the board. The exotic armor wasn't even tier 5. So they brought in a tiered system and didn't even bring the exotic gear pieces into the tier system. It was like they halfway changed the foundation of the game with the portal and the tier system and everything. And it's just like when you do stuff halfway like that and it's poorly executed, the players are not going to honor that or respect that or give much time to that because it's poorly executed. But if you give the players in Destiny 2 good content, we show up and play it. Like how many times have we said that the Witch Queen was one of the best seasons or expansions that we've ever played? It's like when they make high quality content, we show up. And because the Witch Queen was so good, you had even more people show up for Lightfall. And then Lightfall was the quality, the direction of the story, what was going on. It wasn't it wasn't as good. Let me get out of these pages. Um, it wasn't as good, and so people started to leave again. You know, it's like we could never get that consistency of the story campaign, like just the high quality of the story being told consistently. It just wasn't there. Everything was up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I think when you look at Marathon, I think they lost a lot of people during that first, I guess they call it a beta that was free, and everyone jumped in the game. It was over 140,000 that jumped in, according to the Steam numbers. And I don't know how it did on consoles, but that's a good amount of people. And Marathon was in a terrible place. Like it was. I'm looking at the gameplay from the streamers, and I'm like, this is not. And that's where they started losing people. They introduced marathon in the beta, and the quality was poor. Like, it was bad. Just to look at the game, it was bad. The environments look bad, the skins look bad, everything looked bad. And so how did they expect people to respond? Out of that 140,000 plus that they had in the beta, not all these people are coming back, because look how you introduced the game. And when you have a terrible first impression like that, it's really hard to undo that, which is why first impressions are so important to the success of a video game, to success in life, everything. And that's on the studio. You cannot have a first impression of the game to 140,000 plus on Steam, and it looks like that. And so how many thousands of people did you lose right there because of how bad that introduction was in terms of gameplay? The cinematics look great. The actual gameplay or game footage looked awful. And of course they had to delay it because they had to fix things that were supposed to be fixed before we got to that point. And then they came back and the game looked much better. But that's how it was supposed to look in the beta when you had 140 plus thousand on Steam. Not to mention whoever else showed up on consoles. But obviously, after they fixed everything, not everybody came back for that. And me just looking at the game from the outside, it's like this is typical Bungie. Where that first impression, it's like what's what's going on with this? I'm sure the gameplay is good. Like the gunplay is good. Um, it doesn't have a story campaign that would help. Um, they have to have different modes. They have to have a story campaign. They have to make it more accessible to, dare I say, casual players. Um, but I would say more so it's like they have to make it more accessible to players who are not hardcore players. Like, I'm not a hardcore player, but I also don't see myself as a casual player because of how much time I spend doing all this. With I'm labeling all my weapons. I'm trying to get, like, this is 10 power. So I need to get all my crafted weapons up to at least 540. It's like I'm sitting here for hours sometimes when I get to the weekend going over where did I leave off last weekend with this progress. Which weapons do I want to keep? Which armor pieces do I want to keep? What type of builds do I want to go with? Do I want to lean into grenade? Do I want to lean into melee? Do I want to lean into super? Do I want to have a build for health just to see what it plays like? And then it's like I need the Pharaoh Potent builds, and then I need the Smoke Jumper builds. And then I found was it the Lustrous Helmet yesterday? I found the Lustrous Helmet yesterday from turning in one of those, a few of those legendary marks. So I'm not hardcore, but I'm not casual. You know, it's like I'm going through all this stuff to the point where I have notes on where my progress is. So it's just, man, it's crazy. So then when Bungie comes out with something, I'm examining it to say, do I want to spend all this time playing this game? Um, so yeah, I looked at Marathon and it being an extraction shooter, and they're refreshing the the weapons and the gear and whatnot every season. I'm like, no. It's like somebody giving me 21% delirium, and then the season comes to an end, and it's like, okay, you lose that weapon, you have to start over tomorrow. We're grinding for the next thing, and it's like, no, I don't have time for that. I really don't. And then looking at clips in Marathon where people are what 5 seconds away of exfil and 10 seconds away from an exfil, and some dude comes out of the shadows and just knocks them out, takes all their stuff and leaves. I'm like, no, yeah, they can miss me on that one. Like I'm not going through that. So they'll have, they do have a certain type of player that is just, they're fine with that type of game, but I'm not there. I'm not there. And I was even looking at the Arc Raider numbers, and they're like 70% of the people, and they have like what was it, like 130K on Steam. They were like 70% of the players don't play the game like it's an extraction shooter. Like they don't engage in PvP. They play it like a PvE game. And it's like that's just what the majority of the audience is. And I don't know, I mean, I'm not a developer or anything, but it's not like brain surgery. I'm looking at how everybody plays because I've been playing Destiny for since the Dark Below in D1, and I'm looking at the numbers on the Destiny side, and it's like how many people over the years have actually done a raid in Destiny, and we've been playing for years. I've done maybe one that I can remember, and that one was with Callus, and I even think that was a raid layer. I don't even know if that was a full raid. It might have just been a layer, but I definitely know it was with Callus at the end. But that was the only one. That was it. Um, and what makes Destiny really special is that there's so many different things you can do. Like some people hang around in regular strikes. Some people hang around in Nightfalls or in the Grandmasters um, of the strikes. Some people hang around dungeons and raids. Some people hang around in open worlds and lost sectors. Now you got some people are going to hang around the sparrow racing. It's just like you just pick between all these different things. And that's why you can have so many people in the game at one time because everybody's doing something different. You can have some people over in Trials of Osiris trying to go flawless because that's what they do. You have some people who don't jump into trials, but they go into competitive, or they go into the regular crucible, and that's where they like to hang around. So there's so many different activities in the game that everybody just shows up and they go towards or migrate towards whatever they like to do within the game, which can be completely different from what another player wants to do in the game. Some people come in the game and they just like, where's the nearest loot cave that I can that I can farm, and I'm just gonna do that for a couple hours. It's like it's you just do whatever. So Marathon definitely doesn't have that. especially season one. It's like if you don't like hardcore extraction shooter, we don't have anything else for you. So if they came out with a Destiny 3 and said, if you don't like raids and dungeons, and on the PvP side, if you don't like Trials of Osiris, we don't have anything else for you. How many people you would think would play the game? You would lose most of your audience right there. Because most of your audience doesn't hang around in raids and dungeons and play trials. It's just that's just what it is. So there's different levels from casual to mid tier to hardcore and everything in between. And so everybody just shows up, they buy the game, and they were like, oh, I want to play this one over here, or I want to play this over here. And they just go wherever they want to go. And then they run into more people who like that particular section of the game, and they hang out with them. So that's what makes the game so good. And the problem for the developers is with a game like Destiny, it's so big that you just can't take a small group of developers to maintain the game because there's so many different parts of the game that need to be kept up to date, which it actually that actually can be done, right? But everybody on the development team, you have to have a team for PvP, a different team for PvE, a different team for raids and dungeons. You darn near probably might need a team for exotic missions. I mean, you need a squad, right? But it's definitely possible to do it. You just need a squad to do it. You need a massive team, keep everything up to date, and you can't have your attention diverted to all this other stuff. And I don't know if Sony is willing to do that. But what I am hoping is that at least through the rest of this month, um, we keep up these numbers. You know, so now by current players, we've jumped ahead of Marvel Rivals now. Um, so now Destiny 2 is number 7 on the top 10 of current players. So it's there. It's there. The player base is there. The various number of activities you can play is there. The the gunplay that's really good is there. The lore, everything is in Destiny is there. And in terms of competition, I don't play Warframe. I tried Warframe. I really didn't like it. Um, gosh, what was it? Was it Battlefield? It's another game. Borderlands. Try Borderlands. No. Um, and I'm not crazy about that cartoon style in Borderlands either. I don't know. I guess other people don't mind it, but it just bugs me. But anyway, um, point being is that I've tried other games and specifically looking for first person shooter games, but a lot of times I run into like third person and it's not the same. So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do, but like I said, I'm hoping that through the rest of the month we stay above 100K. I know this is gonna drop. The numbers are gonna continue to drop as we go through the rest of June, but I'm hoping that we stay over 100K at least until the end, or not the end, the beginning of July, because I think that shows if you put the content in the game, like not just throw out any expansion or episode or whatever, but if you put good content in the game, the player base is there. So if Sony is thinking about making their 3.6 billion dollars back, they are going to need a squad. So the whole thing about laying people off and all this like and putting and taking people from Bungie and putting them on a different team to work on this, like no. You I would go singular focus. Um it's tough too because I do think that like ending Destiny 2 is definitely the right thing to do, but even with as good as of an update as this is, I would give it about a year and that's it. And which is why Destiny 3 should have been almost completed by now. Um it should have been almost completed by now and they haven't even greenlit the greenlit the darn game. I'm like, what? Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy because it's like you know that these folks are talented, like talent coming out of their ears. It's just a simple common sense stuff that it just goes missing. That I just don't understand. It's like how can you come up with all this amazing, fantastic stuff and then it's like these little simple things that seem just common sense to us, it's just being missed left and right. So it's like I don't know who is is steering the ship, but it's not good. It's not good. But you know what? I'm going to I'm gonna work on my vault at this point and just keep rolling until I get tired and want to do something else, you know. I guess the only thing that I don't know, even if Sony greenlit Destiny 3 for Bungie to make, we really don't have a good track record of the studio not messing it up anyway. That's the part that really bothers me. We don't have a good track record. There's nothing we can't even say like, okay, there's no way that Bungie's not gonna mess this up. Because they not only have to make a Destiny 3, they have to make a Destiny 3 that's good. They can't introduce Destiny 3 and we're working with double primaries and static roles and all the like just we have to find out first who is making these terrible decisions. Because if the person or people or group that's making these terrible decisions get pulled into making Destiny 3, we're going to be stuck with more terrible decisions and be sitting right back here where we're at because the problem wasn't corrected. So we have to figure out who we need we need names. Who's the people or person or group making these terrible decisions? They cannot be a part of the production of Destiny 3. They just can't. Because if we get a Destiny 3 years from now and it's bad, not only will it be bad for the players, Sony's going to look at it like we're not taking any more advice or direction from anybody, including the players. Because now we greenlit Destiny 3 and it's a disaster. And we won't be able to tell Sony anything. So yes, Sony can greenlight D3, but again, we have to make sure that whoever's directing the ship during production, oh my gosh, they have to know what they're doing. They have to know what they're doing. I don't know. But Asta Cross came up with a I don't know if it's an idea or just something he thought of off the top of his head, but he was like, if he could buy the IP and then we could, because we know what type of game we want, right? We know, it's like we know as the players what type of game we want, what type of game would work. But sometimes with these major decisions that they're making, it's like they don't know what works. So yeah, I think that this is going to have to be if Sony's going to continue to own the IP and whether they leave Bungie in charge or they give it to another studio, we I feel like we need a collaborative effort on what's going to be in this game. And that line of communication has to be open. And it can be every quarter we get updates or every 6 months, biannually we get updates. But it's like they gotta tell us something. We can see concept art, we can see line drawings, we and even more important than that, it's just like how is the game being played? How does RNG fit into it? How does the power grind fit into it? In terms of the story campaign, how is that laid out? Side quest, how does that fit into the power grind? Like communication. And so that'll help us as players have more confidence that the game is going in the right direction as it's while it's in production. But if there's just a bunch of silence and then they open up a beta and the players jump into the game and we're thinking, what in the world is this? You know how much money will be spent by then? How many hundreds of millions of dollars will be spent by then? We can't go through that again. Mm-mm. We can't go through that again. So I'm hopeful that like I said, we can have a little more, we can collaborate more with the studio. We can collaborate more with Sony, and we can encourage encourage them to create games with more of the IPs that they have, because I've heard that Sony's just sitting on a bunch of IPs. They're not making games. But we got to get one of these games right. you know, we have to get one of these games right. Before the June 9th update, Destiny 2 wasn't in a good place. Marathon's currently not in a good place. And then Sony's already getting memed about all the other games that have come and gone under them. We have to get something right. And I think that starts with the Destiny universe. But if Sony's not willing to, and see, that's why it was so bad that they overpaid, because it's going to turn into, not only do they have to spend, or did they spend the 3.6 billion in the acquisition, they're going to have to realize, like, it's going to have to dawn on them, in order to make a game like this, which we're asking for, the amount of firepower they're going to need to make it. Now they're going to make the money back just from whatever they put into D3 if it's greenlit. They're going to make that money back, but they're going to have to front the money first when they've already fronted 3.6 billion, which was ridiculous. And then they've already said that was a total of 765 million that they overspent or overpaid for the studio. I don't know what they're. It's like, oh my gosh. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they were thinking. The last thing I will also say, we also need names of people who, because I don't know developers. Like, I don't know who's been in the industry, who's awesome, like who's really good, and who's free. Like, they're not working on some other major massive projects. Like, we need people who are really good and are available for the next 5 years to work on Destiny 3. We need names of them. We need to make sure that The people who are on staff for D2, we need to keep them on board. And then we need someone in leadership who is really good and have a bunch of time on their hands for the next 5 years or so, so that they can oversee the direction of this game. And it has to be someone who Sony's leadership trusts to steer the ship. Because I feel like Sony doesn't really, oh my gosh, it's like they really don't know how to steer the ship either. They're just buying the services of people who they think that they do, and I don't. Yeah, so we need to give Sony names. Like if you put this person in charge, this person in charge, this person in charge, and so I'm talking about leadership, then they can steer the ship correctly. Because cannot go over budget. You can't be making all these mistakes during production. You can't have a bunch of delays. We need to figure out who knows what they're doing and who doesn't know. Whoever doesn't know what they're doing, then they got to go. But get people on the leadership team that they know what they're doing. They care about the game and not they just don't care. It's not it's like you have too many that just care about making money. They don't care about the game. They don't care about the story. They just care about how much money can we get out of this. It's too many of those types of people. And I don't know who those people are. I really don't. Who cares about the IP, the story, the gameplay? People who actually play video games for fun. It's their passion. It's something that they love to do. We need those people. We don't need analysts. We don't need the people crunching the numbers or statistics. We need gamers making games. We don't need analysts making games. We need gamers making games. So if we can find the real ones, as they say, if we can get some real ones to actually steer the ship, then we can get a good game made, or we can see a good game being made. So I can ask, because we definitely need those types of people. We do. Oh, well, I rambled on long enough. It's a little bit after 11 o'clock. I'm gonna check the 11 p.m. Um, what is the right camera here, or the right screen? Here we go. Whew. Okay, so we're gonna go marathon at 11. I don't know if the 11's out though. Hold on. 48 hours. We are at. Oh Lord. It's trying to. Friday, June 12th, 10 p.m., 14,340 is the latest that I've got. And I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Um, Steam. Destiny 2 still at number 7 on the top 10, 125,725. Last 48 hours, we are still at the 10 p.m. mark of 131,567. You know what? It's at a point now where if Sony doesn't get the message, this I'm just looking at these Steam numbers. We don't know anything about the console numbers. But if they don't get the message from this, like you just have to let them just let them fall. It's like, okay, you guys want to just lose money. It's like, you know, just go ahead and do what you want to do. I can't really stop you from doing that. That's insane. That's insane. And it's nothing wrong with having two games at one time. But like I said yesterday, you can't you have to have two different teams for two different games. Because if you start pulling devs off of one game to work on another game, the game that you pulled them off of is going to start to flounder. And then if when that game is Destiny 2 and that game starts to flounder, then the players are going to start getting upset and then they're going to start leaving. And then it turns into the whole Destiny 2 versus Marathon thing. I don't know. So at this point, one of the higher ups at Sony, someone has to come to their senses. Someone has to say something, like address the elephant in the room and say, maybe we need to adjust. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with admitting, I was wrong about this or that. But the bad thing is when you can see that, okay, you made a mistake, but then you want to be stubborn and not move because you got too much pride, too much ego. You want to save face. You don't want to get the blame for anything. So you're just going to pretend like everything's fine. Oh my gosh, that's when all the players going to start going crazy. Like you can't tell you're telling me that you don't see this what's going on and you're just going to keep going in the wrong direction. But yeah. So, I think Team Marathon improved the game however you need to improve the game. And with Team Destiny, you got to load up. I'm talking about call everybody. We need everybody because the size of this game is going to be massive. It's supposed to be massive, and if it's not massive, then people are going to start to complain. It's going to be bad. So call everybody. Yep, call everybody and green light it. So we'll see how long it takes for someone to say something from Sony or for it to leak out or however we getting information these days. We'll hear something from Paul Tassi or somebody. What's the other guy's name? Joel? I don't want to mess up his last name. I think it's Joel. Well, somebody has to say something. So you guys can leave your thoughts in the comments below. Um, I'm gonna jump into golly. I want to say figuring out where this story is supposed to go because I've been seeing little bits and pieces of stuff, but I don't know what's going on. All right, everybody have a good night. See you later.